All right, I'm going to show you a fun optional extra project that you can do with Photoshop. This is a way to do a digital coloring book with any coloring book page ever that you find on the internet. So the first step is to find a coloring book page. All right, you could, of course, type in just coloring book page, or if you have a specific interest like cats or like a movie or a franchise or anything like that, you could type in that specific coloring book page. So I want a Totoro coloring book page. And now I've got some options to choose from. Quick tip for you guys, you definitely want these to be high quality. The less pixelated they are, the easier it's going to be to do this process. So if you go up to Tools and then you click Size and then Large, that will hopefully show you just the high quality coloring book pages to choose from. All right, I like this one. Double check that it's high quality by mousing over it and taking a look at those numbers. That looks pretty good to me, at least good enough for what I'm trying to do. Save the image. And then in Photoshop, open that image. All right, so the first thing I need to do is unlock this background so that I can edit it. And then the second thing I need to do is get rid of the white. Right now, if I were to paint on top of this, I would lose those lines that I'm trying to follow, and having those lines will be very helpful to me. So I'm going to separate the background from those lines by using the magic wand tool. As I've said before, this tool selects similar colors, so I want to select everything in this image that is white and get rid of it. 100 is a pretty good tolerance for that. Any higher and it might get rid of some of the edges of your lines. Any lower and you're probably going to have a little bit of a white border around those lines. So maybe it's 100 for you. Maybe if that doesn't work, you try going a little higher, a little lower, up to you. And like I said, I want every single color white selected, so not contiguous. So that means not just one area, everything. If I were to click contiguous, it's only going to select what's inside of that one shape. If I unclick contiguous, it selects every single white pixel on this page. Now that I have that selection, I'm going to right click, see what I can do with it. And I'm going to make a copy layer via cut. So I'm going to cut out everything and make a new layer. Now I have, if I get rid of that one, I have just the black lines left over. So keep the layer 0, that is just your black lines. Get rid of this additional layer, don't need that. And I'm going to add back in a white background to help me, like, paint on top of white instead of this checkerboard because it makes it a little harder to see. So new layer, background, and let's just make a square. Okay, so I'm going to make a shape. I want my fill to be white. And I do not want a stroke. Don't need it. So now I have a white background and black lines, and they're totally separate, which means I can add a new layer, put it in between those two layers, and now I can paint. As we have talked about before, right, you can paint in certain selections if you want to. So let's say I want this background to be purple or so. I can use that magic wand tool. I can click contiguous. I can go back to my layer where my lines are, right? Make sure you're on the one with the lines. And I can click my background. It'll just select everything that's in the background. Now, depending on what coloring book page you chose, you might have empty lines. If you have that, this is not going to work. Luckily, we can just add those lines back in. So I'm going to deselect those things and really quickly zoom in here and close these guys up just with a brush tool. All right, I have connected those lines down. Magic wand. Contiguous is on. Click. Cool. So now it's just selecting the background behind all of these guys. I also kind of want in between, like in these O's, so I can zoom in a little bit, stay on my magic wand tool, and if I hold the shift button, you'll see that little plus sign pop up. That means I can add those spots to my selection as well. And if I accidentally click something wrong, I can hold Alt. You'll see it turns to a minus. I can get rid of the selection, but I'm going to keep holding shift and add. Okay, now I have my whole background selected. Back to my coloring layer. Making sure you're on the correct layer is just the most important thing always. And now I'm going to click my color that I want. Brush tool. I can do a fun brush if I want. And just like before, I can use my mixer brush to blend colors together if I want to. So So that's pretty much it. If you want to see any more about using different brush textures or any other painting tools, go back to my painting video and watch that through and figure out how to do that. But I mean, it's basically a process of creating new selections from your sketch layer and then coloring those sections in your color layer. Just like that. Lots of fun.